Do you like spending your time writing, world building, and fleshing out your precious paracosm with rich characters and locations? Well, one of my earliest sponsors, worldanvil.com, is a perfect place to organize your thoughts. For the longest time, when running my games, I've used Google Docs where I jumble together locations and characters and player choices in the same page, and it's a mess. But World Anvil provides not only the perfect sorting system, but offers templates, tools, and a tab for multiple worlds that you can quickly swap between. I've always said I love their map system, but they have a character creator and manager that works with over 45 different RPGs that accounts for everything you'd ever need to know about that RPG character, or ones you're slapping together for your next epic fanfiction. A lot of this massive toolkit is free, but if you want the full package, you can get 51% off a yearly subscription with code RUNESMITH. So you're welcome for that. Thank you, WorldAnvil.com. And now it's time to complain. I swear on my life, the video topic and the sponsor were planned separately. The opinions that follow are my own. I'm getting just a little fed up. So if you're broke or stingy or ironically a little impatient like me, let's share a few minutes. D&D Beyond is the largest and most official online tool for playing Dungeons & Dragons, which doubles as a news blog source and triples as a broken watch salesman. It's not all bad, and the main reason that I want to talk about it is because it still has a lot of potential. If you love something, or if you want to love something, the perfectionist in you can pick up on things that you don't like a lot faster, because you want to like it. And that feeling should be somewhat mutual for things like this, but Hasbro has never liked the sound of jingling coins in other people's pockets. So I made a numbered list of my biggest gripes in a loose order, ranging from simple oversights to larger fundamental problems. Let's get started with number 6, the smallest problem, but by far the most prominent one that I come across: the content sorting. And this is most notable with homebrew. In every other creative submission platform, the default sorting is putting the newest content at the front with the immediate option to sort through recent submissions that got more tractions in the past few days than others. Newgrounds, Reddit, YouTube, and most art submission platforms like ArtStation also include hand-picked favorites to get the creative juices flowing that the team deems fitting. But since the content in the books is all sorted alphabetically, so is everything on D&D Beyond without exception. So instead of new, community-picked or otherwise ideas, the first 4 pages are dedicated to system gamers, just an ocean of apostrophes followed by an ocean of parentheses, and neither of those are actual monster names. This extends to your own homebrew creations catalog, which is a weird default and lends itself poorly to the eventual points 1 and 2. I don't want to reload the page 3 times to get to the thing that I was most recently editing. With that, I'll move to point 5, which is another one of my smaller gripes: these eternal beta tools. 2 things that every other site offers in a complete and better way, both generally free or very easy to replicate on your own. The first is the Encounter Builder. It's a small tool that just lets you slap initiatives together, try and balance combat, and keep track of active abilities and hit points while you're playing, which is what Donjon does. But it still uses the same old challenge calculator that's never really worked, mainly because it doesn't effectively account for turn economy. I know that it's not D&D Beyond's fault, but integrating the exact broken system is like handing the Dungeon Master a broken scale and calling it a powerful gift that you'll maybe fix later. For example, 13 Aarakocra fighting 4 level 5s is an easy fight, apparently. But 15 of them is a truly powerful and dangerous fight for the same party, and that doesn't feel like it should be officially true. Also, the whole encounter system takes just as long to set up and works just as well as using a Google Doc for initiative, other than the consolidation of monster stat blocks with the initiative order next to them. But at the same time, you can just do that with an open book and roll 20 for relatively free. To finish the tiny gripe, I think that keeping this tiny list maker separate from the map is a bad move, especially considering that you have to upgrade your subscription to get access to the map system, which I have no reason to do because there are likely better map systems that aren't listed actively as beta. I hope they find a way to take both of these out of beta within the next 6 years, but for now it doesn't do much more than try and ask for money. Alright, now I get to talk about money. Number 4. If it's digital and it's proprietary, you don't actually own what you're buying. I know this is true for the vast majority of digital products, but it takes away from the value pretty heavily. If Hasbro ever decides that their non-functional monetization model doesn't work for D&D Beyond, or if they need a tax break in the future or want to liquidate some assets, the site could go down and all the content you both paid for and accumulated, as well as your homebrew catalog, could vanish forever. Also, minor gripe, you can only read the PDFs that you buy using the mobile app, which is pretty limiting, but at least you can do it offline. I also do really appreciate the PDF character exports. It's pretty seamless and somewhat easy to update once you have that character. Problem number 3, and probably the most well-known, is the double purchase price. Fuck this. If I buy a book at a local game store to support a local business, which I always go out of my way to do for this kind of stuff, first of all, it should come with a fucking sealed QR code that unlocks the book for my account as well. But even if they absolutely need me to buy this shit twice, supporting local shops literally disallows me from getting a discounted price from the website. A QR code or otherwise should be implemented to solve this. It feels super predatory. I get that this is the main way that they make their bread and butter, because the subscription price is currently low, but it doesn't feel good as a consumer. I have a bit more to say on this, but point 2 is a quick one. Ironically, because point 2 is their loading times. As they've continued to update the site, it fluctuates between passable and irritating. But if your service is meant to be a cash siphon, you should put a couple extra dollars into your bandwidth. Especially if, by its own nature, I have to reload the monster list page each time I pick a type, source category, and sort by challenge rating just to look at what I might want to use. And I really think the more that they release and add to these catalogs, the worse this loading might get. Which brings me to my final point, and the core function that I hate the most. Number 1 is the sensory overload from how poorly everything is integrated. There's a lot of third-party content that immediately kind of gets added to your character building, but I kind of want to talk about just the home pages for some of these things like monsters. For example, I have bought like 3 or 4 bestiaries, and I like to reference monsters a lot, and D&D Beyond, I guess, used to make that simple. If I go to the home page for all monsters, out of the first 12 monsters on the list, I have access to 1. All the rest of them are direct links to the market pages for various books, and I have like 4 out of the 5 books listed on my shelf. So to get access to just this first page of monsters, just for the digital copies, I would have to spend, if I did my math right, $235 before tax. The main issue point that I'm making here is that is page 1. That's the intended experience for newcomers. If the default experience of this website is a swarm of monsters and legacy monsters, some I'm allowed to look at and most I have to shovel out for, sometimes twice, I'm sorry, but it's a bad experience. It's kind of a weird comparison, but my partner started playing Wizard 101 this year for some reason, and she made me play it. Just like any subscription service, you can play for a couple dozen hours before every new area that you walk into gets on its knees and begs you for money in one of 2 ways. Either pay for the individual area once at an exuberant price, but then it's yours forever, or pay the monthly fee and get everything, but little eye catchers like pets still cost $10 a pop. D&D Beyond is functioning the same way, and that's not its specific fault, it's that that's the standardized model for making money. Boil your service up to the top of the competitive market with explosive promotions, put up a paywall, and hide a couple dozen shops inside this not-so-secret club. Everything does this nowadays, but the more obtuse the presentation, the more inspired people feel to, well, leave. If you're paying for the convenience, you want it to feel convenient, not like a battle between yourself and every product being hawked on the street that you paid to walk through. I love D&D, and I really want to like the official stuff more, but there are some serious direction issues that need to be addressed if they want us to stick around, especially on their platforms. Not just keep offering more stuff in the same pile for us to buy. Unless they reconsider adding Twisted Taverns or Stibbles to their catalog. I think that would fix every fundamental problem. Like, I think it would just be a better experience all around, and they'd make more money or something. I don't know. I'm probably right about that. What do you think?